Thank you. Hi there. Good morning. Certainly nice to see you all here, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at this time of day. Oh, it's certainly nice to see you anyway. So thank you to Elcrick first off for putting on this event. Absolutely fantastic. I think everyone in the room can agree with that. And thank you very much for giving us some time in your agenda to talk to you today. Found the clicker. So we are A E Yates, and we thought today we're going to start talking about a little bit about the skills gap that we're all starting to see in the workforce. But we thought you don't want to hear us just talking to you for 20 minutes, because especially not after last night. So what we want to do is there is a Mentimeter code on your table. The little bits of paper, so if you get your phones out, scan that QR code, you can start logging into that. Basically, we're going to get you to do all the work this morning, because we did enjoy some glasses of wine last night as well. So while you do that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about A E Yates, who we are. So A E Yates, we're an employee-owned civil engineering contractor. We operate nationwide, but we are based in Bolton. We were actually established in 1870, the same year as the British Red Cross, for anyone who's interested in that kind of thing. And over the years, we've grown from a railway shed in Bolton to a purpose-built plant yard in Lostock in Bolton, in the shadow of the Tough Sheet Stadium. And I did say that right for the hard of hearing. And over the years, we've grown significantly, and we're actually part of a wider group. We have our civil engineering, which is the parent company. We also have SPI Piling, Combined Soil Stabilisation, Tritech, and Tritech Ground Engineering, and HDD Directional Drilling. So we offer a load of in-house specialism alongside that. So that was the big sell. Hopefully you've all managed to log in. And I think we're all set for question one.
Yeah.
So if you get your Mentimeter up, and there we go. There's the first question. I'll just give you a few moments to read it, get your eyes in focus, because I know these mobile phones are small screens. So that's really positive, isn't it, those results that are coming in there? I'm so glad that it's not 100% no chance, otherwise I'd have been walking off the stage already. I think it's really good. I joined this industry about 6-7 years ago, and I'll be honest, probably prior to that, I wouldn't have encouraged my children to join it, because I think I had the same perceptions as quite a lot of people outside of the industry. Whereas now, after spending time in it, and you actually see the opportunities that for young people and for development throughout the industry, I certainly think it's a good industry to be in, isn't it? So we're all good about that. So great, thank you. Push track, this is going to get really confusing. So I just wanted to go through some of the statistics that we found online about the skills gap. So this was all from the CITB's Workforce Skills 2022 report. And it just has a bit of a breakdown of the demographics there of the UK construction industry workforce. So 19% under 25, vast majority 25 to 44, and then a quarter of the workforce is 45 to 59, and then 6% over 59. It does show that, to be honest, in our industry, we're actually lagging behind other industries in retirement age. There's a vast majority of people that state that they will retire at retirement age and not look to go on ahead of that. And like I say, that falls shy of quite a few other industries. So yeah, only 30% of people would recommend the industry to their child or young person. So this is outside of the industry. We saw when we asked the questions, now it's all starting to tie together, you see. Those in the industry would recommend it, and they see it as a really good opportunity for young people. But that perception externally, there still needs to be a little bit of work on it. And that's it. There's still a perception that it's low paid, dirty, and for people with poor academic skills. And like you say, we've got lots of skills through the retirement of the aging population. So ONS figures show that there are currently more people of retirement age than there are children under 16 in the UK. So this is the population as a whole. So just as a population in the UK, we're an aging population. People are living longer, which is a good thing. Certainly, as I'm getting older, I'm quite glad that that's happening. But it obviously means that there's a smaller pool of young people to attract into the industry. It's anticipated that the sector will lose 500,000 workers in the next 10 to 15 years. So that's 500,000 people in the next 10 to 15 years. That's a big gap to plug. And the BSI study shows just 15% of UK construction workers will work beyond retirement age, compared to 29% of all sectors. So that was what I was saying about there's a massive gap there of our workforce working longer. So 5 years ago, there were 3.1 million people working in construction, or over 9% of the total workforce. 12.5% of those were women, and there was a 20% gender pay gap across the construction and job roles. Now, 2.05 million people, so that's a dramatic drop in the number of people working in construction. 15% of those are now women, so at least that's going in the right direction, but perhaps not as quick as we would like it. And 11.7% is now the gender pay gap in the industry, so at least we are making strides in the things that count. CITB's Construction Skills Network 24 to 28 report states that 251,500 extra workers are needed in the next 5 years, and it is expected that construction employment will need to reach 2.75 million by 2028. So there's a lot of work to do.
So we're going to move on to question 2. So if you could just have a look at this and identify.
There we go.
We get it. Thanks. Identify what challenges you think are the most important and rank them in order of priority to how we can improve where we are. Feels quite slow with this one moving. And I can't see over the podium. I'm actually too small. It's quite fun. I'm just watching these all move. And I'm not sure how long I should wait. So the one thing that I know from this coming through is that ageing workforce has stayed at the top and it hasn't moved. And I think that is a really, really big issue in the industry. Obviously, we've got issues with recruitment and retention, and training has sat at the bottom pretty much for the whole of this session, which is also really good to see because it shows there's a little bit of investment going on there. Do you want to just throw it onto the next slide for me? We should have done, yeah. We're going through the questions now rather than the...
Oh, yeah. Sorry, back to it.
Thank you. So, challenges. At A E Yates, we are really, really lucky. We have worked quite hard to address a number of the challenges in the industry to ensure that our recruitment levels are where they need to be and that our retention is absolutely on par. when we did some research into what was an issue, we looked at reduced access to EU workers with Brexit. A whole pool of workers has actually disappeared. There's a real issue with mental health within the industry, and suicide rates are really, really high across the board. We do have a lack of flexibility. You know, we've got set working hours that are within planning regulations. So people are having to come to work at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. and finish at 4. You know, we're working around network restrictions. So there is a limitation to that flexibility that we can provide. Pay levels. I worked on a contract and Amazon drivers were getting paid more than our unskilled workers. And, you know, there isn't that parity there for people to want to come and work in the industry. Working conditions, it's great in summer. Well, the 3 days of summer that we do have. But winter, it's actually really quite cold out there. When I worked operationally, I went out with the gangs during the winter and it wasn't nice. You know, it was cold, it was wet, it was damp. There were very few areas to take refuge. You're on the side of the road, you've got trucks coming past you, you've got cars coming past you. It's not a particularly nice environment to work in. Sometimes we've got shortage of tech and digital skills. And just being here yesterday and looking at the presentations and the stands that we've got, I can see that is changing. But is it changing fast enough? Is it changing fast for the younger generation coming in, wanting to have part of those digital skills that they've grown up with? You know, my children, 3 of them are all gamers, and one's in the Air Force. He enjoys now playing games with big aeroplanes rather than small ones that were on the screen. And the other 2 have gone into the construction industry. Well, one actually is a hairdresser, but the other has gone into the construction industry as well. And he's gone into the tech side of it. He's gone into electrical engineering. It's getting that work-life balance. We all work long hours. Our work is peaks and troughs. When we hit the troughs, you know, we do get time to recover, but there are significant peaks in what we do. And the perception of the industry, of it being outside, of it being hard work, of it having issues with safety and being quite, I think you mentioned it earlier, didn't you? You know, that it's considered over a lower scale to other industries and other tech industries. So I think as a industry, we've got to look at these challenges and work out how we can bridge the gap to bringing people back into construction.
Brilliant. So now back to you to do a little bit more work. Can't make sure that on to question 3. So we're looking at blockers. Oh, someone's not happy with how much they get paid. Look. So yeah, immediately there's a couple that they're starting to stand out. Pay levels. Sue mentioned on that about what an Amazon delivery driver can get paid more than a ground worker. So there's clearly work to be done there. And yeah, industry perception. We can clearly see that there's feeling towards all of those as blockers. So yeah, brilliant. A lot of them on there. Fantastic. If we just switch back to the PowerPoint, thank you. So yeah, so we talk about blockers, and in the last 5 years, there's been some significant events that have adversely affected workforce levels across our industry. And you can see on there, while we recruit 200,000 people per year into construction, in 2023 there was actually a 10,000 employee net loss across the industry. despite the fact that there are 36,000 job vacancies currently live in construction. That's a lot of jobs, and how that isn't an attraction to any young person or anyone looking to try transfer their skills into another industry. The work's there, it's available for people. By the looks of it, possibly not at the right pay level, but it's there. You know, that there is a need to recruit. And the average cost of recruiting new starters, this is pretty much across the board, around £6,800 with another £1,500 to do the training. So there's going to be a big cost. If we're looking at 500,000 employees in the next 4 years, that's a huge cost to people to bring this new talent and this diverse workforce into the industry. So how can we recruit more successfully? How can we retain people in the industry? And is there a better way in utilising the limited skill sets that we have, or upskilling those people that we do have? And then we're on to another.
So we are on to number 4, and this is about recruitment. So what do we need to focus on to recruit people into the industry? So that's not recruiting people within the industry to your business. That is looking at alternative businesses and alternative industries and bringing them from those sectors into the construction industry. That's quite interesting. So we seem to be going neck and neck with training programs and apprentices and transferable skills. I think we're sort of stabilising a little bit now. And just jump on to the next slide. So I think there's a variety of things that we've done to improve recruitment, and I think there's a variety of things that we need to do to continue to improve recruitment. Many of us have diversity and inclusion strategies, and we have forums that we all sit on. But do they get advertised out to other sectors? Do we shout about what we do? We have inclusive job descriptions that sit on LinkedIn, but do they reach the right people? We have some flexibility in what we do, and I know businesses that I've worked for and A E Yates offer split working packages so that people can start early, finish early, and at least do one of the school runs. We have diverse hiring panels to demonstrate to candidates that we are a diverse and inclusive employer. And I know many of our colleagues in other companies do the same. We have open and inclusive recruitment processes so people can see how we recruit. We have training and education with clear plans and processes. So having clear career pathways so an individual can see that journey from the beginning of their career to the end. Having clear apprenticeship and graduate schemes where people applying for roles, they can see what they're going to get and where they can get to. And having mentoring and sponsorship programs, not necessarily just within the organisation, but across organisations. I've still got a mentor from one of my previous employers, and they said to me, we'd really like to stay in contact. And I speak to them on a quarterly basis. And I think working across businesses is very, very important, because if we retain the skills within our own individual business, it's very difficult to develop and to grow.
Excellent. Back over to you for the next question. So retention came up as one of the high scoring ones in one of the other questions. So now we're really kind of digging into what we can do to help improve it. So that's really good to see that immediately the progression pathways is kind of coming out on top. And I think it's right. I think our people need to see a clear progression path, how their career within the industry is going to set out and how it's mapped out ahead of them. we need to give opportunities to progress within our organisations and across the industry. Next time I do this, I'm just going to drop pay off it. But there's clearly an issue that it's coming to the forefront here. That is possibly something that the industry is going to have to address as we move forward. 500,000 people in 4 years, it's a lot. Are we pinning these pay scales right to attract them? Cheers. So what have we done in A E Yates to try and retain our people? So one thing we've done is we've really embraced the movement of our under 35s by providing secondments or similar on rotation, so actually giving them access to other organisations perhaps within our supply chain or within our peer group, but also in our client organisations, and actually giving them access to wider experience while maintaining kind of their career path within A E Yates. Sharing of resources across working teams, partnerships and collaborations. This actually sharing resources with people that you work with, like say supply chain, preferred partners, whatever it is. It's all about sharing in that collaboration. Succession planning and career pathway. So I'm really pleased that came out on top on the previous Mentimeter. Regular skills gap analysis, so actually making sure that we understand what skills we need to bring into the company, what skills we need to bring into the industry, and how we attract that. And do we go externally out of the industry? Do we need to attract these skills from external industries? Because we noticed it before about getting those transferable skills in from other industries. That's how we drive innovation. Innovation's been talked about a lot in this, and obviously it will be next year in the innovation a couple of days that are coming up. And really it's those new ideas that help drive the innovation, and if we can take them from other industries, what better way to do it? Embracing new technologies, we talked about that a lot, and as I mentioned in the opening speech, A E Yates is actually now an employee-owned organisation, so everyone who works for A E Yates is essentially working for a stronger future for themselves, because they're investing in a business that essentially they are part owner of.
So we've got one last question, and there isn't really a lot going on beyond this, and this is just to see where you yourselves are with your own organisations. So does your organisation have a strategic plan in place to address the skills gap? That's quite, that's opened my eyes. I was expecting a yes and unsure, but over 50% saying no demonstrates where we are really with the skills gap. So I have got one final question. It's not on the Mentimeter. For those that said yes and unsure, does that strategic plan work? And this is a real hard ask. Does it work? Is it focused in the right area? And is it focused at the right people? And does it address the right things? And I'm not going to say any more on the subject. I want you guys to leave here thinking about that and taking it away and wondering what we can do next, because we can't continue to do the same thing time and time again and expect a different result.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.